Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. My name is Mr. Maxwell, and welcome back to another side quest about video games with myself and Exile Mike Pie.
Hello!
As always.
Yes.
Yes, it's always us two. That'll be the one constant.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole world will change, except this.
This
This will never change. Okay.
Don't know what that says about the world or us.
I think it says more about us.
Yeah, probably does. But let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. So, basically, there's been really kind of only sort of two bits of news.
Yeah.
This last week. We'll talk about the first one now, but the more important one, personally. PlayStation-owned company hit with layoffs. Now, this is, I think it's Media Mogul. Yeah, that's what they're called. I can't remember.
Oh, the ones behind...
Like the ones who did Dreams and Little Big Planet.
Yeah. Oh, that's disappointing.
Oh, there you go. PlayStation-owned Visual Arts. That's
Visual Arts, there we go. Okay.
Faces layoffs of several senior designers depart, highlighting the impact of support studios in popular game production. Well, yes.
Yeah, because nowadays it's not just like... Gone are the days like where id would make Doom. It's now like, especially for the AAA side of things, it's you've major developer, but then you've got people who will be teams taken from outside or other parts of the main umbrella company. Prime example, Call of Duty. You have Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward and Treyarch, who are like the main developers of
and
but then you've got
all
like
the little studios underneath them that do like
Toys for Bob.
Toys for Bob, Vicarious Visions now.
Visions, as we call shoved into the Call of Duty minds.
Yeah, because,
and they do a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, like they work on like animations and coding and all the other, basically all the little stuff that you kind of don't notice sometimes.
Yeah. Particle effects, etc., etc., etc. Maybe a little bit sniffly because I think I have a cold, so
it's fine. Nobody watches these anyway. It's okay.
It's okay.
Apart from that one guy who subscribed.
Hey, well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, look, every subscription's a W for us. So.
Yeah.
Well done.
So key members, including former Ubisoft designer Daniel Bellemere, confirmed their departure from Visual Arts Group due to layoffs. The layoffs at Visual Arts Group are part of a larger trend in the gaming industry, with even major companies like Epic Games and CD Projekt Red cutting jobs.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a trend amongst the major developers at the moment that they are.
Well, the thing is, like, we're now getting to the point. Because we were actually talking about this not long ago.
Yeah.
But we're actually getting to the point now where making profits, making the amount of profit that they want,
or the amount of growth in profit.
Yeah.
You're getting
we're getting to the point where you like
diminishing returns.
Yeah, and it's the only way you're going to keep making that profit or that growth, is by cutting costs.
But the problem is that eventually you cut too much and the product.
Oh suffers. Yeah. Look. This is what we were saying a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about Blizzard. We're probably talking about Blizzard.
We're probably talking about Blizzard, but also potentially Epic as well.
And maybe I guess it might have been Epic.
It was probably Epic, but it's the industry as a whole that's the issue.
And we're getting to this point of like shareholders wanting the growth
to continue as stupid as it is,
and not really understanding that there's no market that can ever do that. There's not a market in the universe.
What they have at the moment is unsustainable growth. You just can't keep the level of growth that they have at the moment, and you either go one or two ways. You either sit your shareholders down like fucking stupid children. Because let's all be honest, that's probably what some of them are, because they don't have a fucking clue about the business that they're actually getting involved in. It's just, it makes loads of money. I want more. I want loads of money. I will invest. What they'll do is they'll get very upset when it starts to tail off, which is what's happening now. I mean, hell, we were in the middle of a fucking
cost of
living crisis still, and the game industry is acting like everyone's got disposable income.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
hey, I tell you what, I got because I managed to get loads of the Fallout.
Yeah.
It was only 50.
I don't know.
Which is quite nice. Quite nice. But anyway, moving on to this. The PlayStation-owned Visual Arts studio was recently confirmed to have been hit with a wave of layoffs, seeing several senior designers departing the Sony support studio, while many fans may be more familiar with first-party studios like Naughty Dog and PlayStation Studios. Support studios play a vital role in the production of many of gaming's most popular titles, supporting developers like Studio GoGo. Have helped bigger studios to finish several major releases like Hogwarts Legacy and Redfall. Oh, no, it's not. Let's not bring up Redfall. Let's not bring up
I don't
Redfall.
think that's a game anyone wants on their CV now.
Yeah, among others. Now, a reputable support studio is facing a new wave of layoffs. Visual Arts Group helped Sony with some of the developers' biggest releases since the support studio was established in 2007. The Visual Arts Group typically works with Sony's first-party developers on major game releases, including Naughty Dog and Santa Monica.
So that's God of War.
God of War, Last of Us was probably
Us.
the last one that they came out with.
Last of Us Part 1 remake.
Yeah.
Or HD, or whichever version they want to call it.
Yeah.
Hey, Naughty Dog, do you want to actually make a new game? Just saying. You haven't made one for over...
Yeah, Visual Arts Group was also majorly involved in the release of The Last of Us Part 1, the remake.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Originally working on the project before Naughty Dog took over development now. PlayStation Studios Visual Arts Group is parting ways with several employees. News of the layoffs, Visual Arts Group would surface with several former employees of the studio announcing their departure. Former senior level designer Daniel Bellamere would announce his departure from the group, citing a wave of layoffs at the... God, I hate ads. At the support... It's not that, right? I'm reading it and then an ad pops up and it moves what I'm reading all the way down to the bottom of the screen and I've got to move things. Yeah. At the support developer, Bellamere had previously worked at Ubisoft as a world designer for several major projects, including Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Oof, yeah. Maybe not.
I mean, in one sense, I could, like, Redfall, I don't think many people would want it, but then again, it is something that, you have worked on.
I suppose you could say that I have worked on the Assassin's Creed franchise. No, I would say that's a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
To put on your CV. Please don't die.
Alright.
I'd appreciate it if you didn't die while we were recording.
I'm trying not to. It's okay, it's fine.
While the layoffs at Visual Arts affect several senior members of the gaming industry, they are far from the first in recent memory. 2023 has seen several waves of layoffs across many of the biggest developers throughout the gaming industry. Epic Games would shed a staggering 870 employees last month, while CD Projekt Red would reportedly cut roughly 9% of its workforce. Even the biggest companies in gaming have not been safe from layoffs and shedding salaries, with Microsoft laying off over 10,000 employees.
Well, Microsoft have to pay for that $69 billion takeover somehow.
Oh, for fuck's sake, ads, man. Stop it. Right. Cuts at Sony's Visual Arts Group come as the studio's major gaming projects have continued to see success throughout the year. Insomniac recently released Spider-Man 2, which, by the way, is getting massive rave reviews.
Oh, yeah, it's looking like it's...
Which...
Actually, when we finish that, I'll talk about some of the stuff I've seen on social media from the Xbox, because it's fucking hilarious.
Spider-Man 2 became the fastest-selling PlayStation Studio game in PlayStation history, moving over 2.5 million units in just 24 hours. Santa Monica Studios' God of War Ragnarok was a finalist for Game of the Year at the 2022 Game Awards, and The Last of Us Part 1 received a nomination for Innovation in Accessibility. Sony's layoffs will leave several talented games developers looking for new opportunities with other studios. But yeah.
It sucks for everyone that's been let go.
It does. The thing, I'm kind of not surprised with it being Sony, because after Spider-Man, what do we have?
That is very true.
There's nothing on there, at least
nothing,
what I could find.
Nothing. Nothing.
There's nothing concrete coming out from Sony this year.
Not that we know of.
That we know of. That's what I'm saying.
I do wonder, since Spider-Man 2 is the last big one that's come out, that's like on Sony's calendar, whether or not the next State of Play may have something.
I think the next big stuff we're going to get from Sony is going to be at the Game Awards. We're getting closer.
Well, it's very true.
We're
and
about a month and a half away from it.
Yeah, we're about a month and a half away from the Game Awards, and I don't think there's a State of Play until then.
No. And to be fair, I generally think the better State of Plays that Sony have done have always been when they've focused on one game to show you what that game can do.
Yes.
Whereas the ones where they're like, oh yeah, this is other stuff that's coming, they've always been kind of lackluster.
That is very true, unless they've had something like majorly big to announce. So it may be the Game Awards.
I think we're going to get some stuff at the Game Awards.
I mean, nothing's going to top Armored Core 6 from last year.
I don't know.
But then again, I never expected Armored Core 6. Hey, by the way, Capcom, if you're listening, since I got Armored Core 6 last year.
Bloodborne 2.
That's Sony. So Sony Bloodborne 2 for Mr. Matt.
It's from Software, though.
That is true, from Software. That is very true as well. Bloodborne 2, or now Capcom, listen to me. Dino Crisis.
Yeah, hear me out here.
In the Resident Evil.
You're running out of Resident Evil games to remaster.
You're running out of games. Yeah, you're running out of, like you've got Resident Evil 5,
which you're not going to do. Let's be honest.
If you're going to do, you're going to completely change that one. Yeah. So you'll need a lot more time.
You're not touching 6.
And 6 6 was that bad. You literally had to go back to the back to the drawing board and rethink the entirety of the way you do Resident Evil games. Hence Resident Evil 7. But so hear me out. Dino Crisis. Yeah. It's an easy slam dunk. You do Dino Crisis the way you've done Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 2 and 3, and it'll be great.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
The Dino Crisis fan base are very, very blue-balled over the person who is clearly in there solely to blue-ball the Dino Crisis fans in Exoprimal. Don't even say, oh, well, no, she's an original. No, she is fucking thingy from Dino Crisis 1.
She clearly looks like her. Come on. Don't do that. Don't do that.
So, there we go. Anyway, so it is saddening for.
It's sucky.
It's sucky for the people that are being let go. No one wants to be fired, which this basically is. They may get some redundancy, maybe, but depending on the front, hopefully, but maybe so that they've at least got some sort of like cushion so they can, while they're looking for new work. I just really, really hope that the industry doesn't go through a giant fucking staff mass layoffs, and then turn around and go, well, we've got to increase our prices, guys.
It costs too much to make games.
It costs too much to games. It costs too much to make the games. It costs so much. I'm sorry, but like, Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't cost as much as Call of Duty to make. And it is a more feature. It will be I can guarantee you now. Like when Call of Duty 3 comes out, even though Call of Duty 3 is probably going to be a damn good Call of Duty game from what's been shown and heard and all that, right? It is still Baldur's Gate 3 is still be a more feature complete and less buggy game than Modern Warfare 3.
Possibly.
And probably did not cost as much. Yes. Did it take 6 years to make Baldur's Gate 3? Yes. Is it taking 6 years to make Modern Warfare 3? No.
Actually, it might do. It's how long?
No, it'd be 2.
2?
It's been 2 because Infinity Ward started Modern Warfare 3 I think, when they finished Modern Warfare 1. So they started working on it. At least that's what I think they've said. But anyway. My point being is, like, the AAA game industry cannot justify the price that they're selling their games at the moment, personally, because they have all this bullshit in it. It's, Diablo 4 is the prime example. You charge $70 for that game, and then you charge more inside the shop. You charged as much money as certain fucking full price release games for a single skin, and the game is shite. There's no ifs, ands, or buts now. Like, the game is
Although
poor.
apparently, the Season of Blood, the second season,
Damage is done.
apparently that's made it a little bit better, but
Right, so made it a little bit better, or actually made the game good?
I don't know.
Because if it's a little bit... Diablo 4, after the release of the fucking first season, needed more than just a little bit better.
Yeah.
It was in a god-awful state.
No, I know. I'm just stating that
it's a little bit better.
It's a little bit better. Not that I would know, because I haven't been on it. I've been playing Baldur's Gate.
Oh, Baldur's Gate is so good.
That and Lords of the Fallen, because Lords of the Fallen is mint.
Yeah. But, on to Spider-Man, since it was mentioned.
Yes.
So, Spider-Man has come out. It's been praised from critics and reviewers and the vast majority of people saying it's a great game. It's better than the first one. Potentially, it's a potential Game of the Year contender. And the Xbox are not happy, to the state where they've literally gone round, like, someone is complaining that they can't swing into the subway system. They can't go into the subway system. Basically, you walk down the stairs, and then the game will automatically turn you around and web you back up to the stop. So,
Okay.
right? To which I'm like, it's a Spider-Man game. Why are you going into the subway system in a Spider-Man game? Like, I've said about Spider-Man 1, I don't use the fast travel. It's one of the few games I have never used the fast travel in it, because I don't see the point. It's too much fun swinging from in the city. And it's like, oh my god, it's like, these are the same people that complain about Sony fanboys who are fucking idiots, complaining about the asinine bullshit that is not a real thing in Starfield. Like, oh, you can't actually fly over to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that was,
and I'm like,
that was a fucking joke.
I'm like, oh, you don't know it's a space game.
Yeah, the ones that were calling for that lass's job because she was playing Starfield.
Yeah, they're
fucking
like,
joke, man.
Like, Jesus fucking Christ! Like I said, I class myself as a Sony fanboy due to the fact that I've played on every single console, and I prefer Sony over Microsoft for reasons X, Y, and Z. But I will call out bullshit when it's bullshit.
Yeah,
and the bullshit that was. Starfield has some criticism that's justifiable, and I'm Spider-Man 2 is not going to be perfect. There's probably going to be some things. I think I've seen someone post a bug where the model disappears and it's just the placeholder cube.
Oh,
It's been playing it like that.
Right, I demand that to be a skin in the game now. I demanded that cube.
The tiny little cube.
A tiny little
bouncing
cube.
around.
Yeah, I demand it.
To be honest, that's an extra difficulty mode.
Yeah, actually, no, you know what? It would actually be kind of fun to watch this little cube fight big enemy things. If you could build, like, animation for the cube to do stuff and just, like, whack them in the face.
That'd be cool. I think that's an awful lot of effort.
That's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work.
It's still, like, if that was in there, that'd be mint.
But,
by the way, the offer still stands about Spider-Man. I am probably not going to play that game unless Peter Parker gets put in.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
No. I doubt any multiverse shenanigans will ever happen in.
No, it just has to be a skin.
Yeah, no, but Peter Parker is a completely different height, size, and shape.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, which means you can't just put a skin in because it just won't work.
No. Don't worry. Basically, all you do is you just you keep everything the same. You just.
I don't think it's as simple as taking character A and shortening them.
Oh, come on. No, that's not what I mean. Like seriously, I want actually Peter Porker.
I know you want Peter Porker. I know, but I'm just saying it's not just a simple thing of.
Yes,
it's probably got as much work to put in as the cube.
As the cube.
I
still look. That is the offer.
That is the deal. That is the deal you are offering, and yet it shall not be negotiated on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for the Spider-Man fans, it looks like you're eating well again, which is great.
Good game.
It does look really, really good. And to the people that have been criticising it, I'm literally like, I'm Jackie Chan. What
are you doing?
What are you doing? Face.
Yeah.
Like, what the. You're seriously thinking this is a serious... You really believe this is a seriously justifiable criticism? I can't walk into the subway.
I mean, it is a criticism, but it's not a very good one.
In a Spider-Man game. Well, crime takes place in the subways. Yeah. Do you know who does all the shit in the really gritty parts of New York in Marvel? Do you want to know who it is? It's not Spider-Man. It's a guy that lives in Hell's Kitchen.
Aye. And another one who wears a skull.
Yeah, there's also a certain Frank Castle that hangs around.
He does a lot of the stuff in the darker places.
And also, there's a bunch of other superheroes. Like, New York is fucking stacked for superheroes.
Yeah, it's all good.
So, I'm pretty sure... Correct me if I think I'm pretty 100% certain. It's not that big a deal.
Also, it's a subway. Just let it go.
Yeah. It's a stupid.
Moving on, we're going to stick with PlayStation because we got former PlayStation boss argues acquisitions could lead to less creative games.
Well, there's a shock.
I know, right?
Next thing she's going to tell me the Pope's Catholic and the sky's blue.
I know, right? Sean Layden, who was the president of CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment America, has shared his concerns on the effect of consolidation on creativity in the gaming industry. Taking an interview with the Land Parties podcast, Layden agreed that acquisitions are able to offer a lifeline to smaller studios who are struggling with big bills from the cost of development. Nevertheless, it is the existence of these smaller studios that are indicative of an environment that encourages a range of ideas and possibilities, he said. My concern around consolidation is that often it impacts creativity. For instance, it takes some kind of small independent wild horse studio and brings them into a larger conglomerate, and essentially time slows down. The bigger you are, time slows down, explains Layden. He's also concerned that when studios get bored and instead of enabling a way to create their game, they maybe get absorbed into a larger enterprise that's making a larger game. You know how many studios are involved in making blockbuster games that will stagger the mind. Call of Duty is the prime example of this.
We call it the Call of Duty mines for a reason.
I think there's roughly about 8 to 9 studios working on Call of Duty.
No, literally, there was Blizzard.
And then Call of Duty.
And then there's everyone working on Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Every single studio that Activision Blizzard has is either Blizzard or working on whichever Call of Duty is in production.
Pretty much.
Which, you know.
But yeah, this is the thing that we were talking about
with the
Activision Blizzard
deal
thing.
being
I mean,
finalised.
Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's as bad for creativity with Activision Blizzard.
No, because let's
be honest, their creativity was pretty much here's a brick.
Their creative originality died when Activision Blizzard decided that Overwatch 2 was just going to be a shop. I mean, it probably died earlier than that, but the confirmation, the flatlining, the time of death announced was when Overwatch 2 was published without the PvE. That was when it died. Because they already knew they were killing off the PvE, the promised PvE, when they launched the shop. Because they didn't launch a game. The game already existed. The game was already there. It was called Overwatch.
Yeah.
They just launched a shop.
But yeah, this sort of stuff it does impact a lot of things.
It does,
like, especially the indie scene, because the indie scene needs.
I mean, you just have to look at EA as well. EA is another prime example. Like they used to be, like in the PlayStation 2 and 3 used to release so many different like types of games. Dragon Age, like just from the PS3, like Dragon Age Origins, Dead Space, like,
Army of Two.
And there was an awful lot of like the need for the
Burnout.
Burnout was made before, like Burnout. I think Burnout 3 they published.
Yeah.
And then they took over.
And then they bought the company there.
Yeah. Which was Citrium, I think? Question mark. I may be wrong. I may be pronouncing it wrong.
One of them.
Yeah. Well, whoever. They've been out by now anyway. So.
Yeah.
But like Burnout. But yeah, like EA is a prime example. Like they take a company that does well. They maybe let them do one or two more games in the genre that they like.
I think basically what they do is they'll let the company release the game that they're already working on.
Yeah.
And
then tell them, no, we don't want you to do the games that have made you popular. We want you to do this game.
Yeah.
Because this game is the bandwagon.
We want you to make the design for Haaland's Ultimate Team card.
I don't think it's even that. Like Visceral.
Yeah.
Visceral did Dead Space. They, horror third-person action type game, which was really good. And then EA went, we want it to be. We want to put microtransactions in, so you have to make that work. And make it co-op. And also people like custom. There's this new fad of customization, so add a customizable gun in it as well. We don't care if you don't know how to balance it. And then it went, people didn't like Dead Space 3. Well, I tell you what, you've never done a first-person shooter. Do a battlefield, but not just any battlefield. Do a cop battlefield.
With cops and robbers. And then once you've done that, we'll give you the Star Wars game. And then we'll close you.
We'll close you before you get even halfway through it. Fuck you, EA.
Yeah. Obviously, this is all to bring about because of Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. Most likely somebody talked to them about...
Well, so, like, everyone's wondering what Sony's going to do. And there is rumours. I don't believe them, but...
I don't believe them.
Then again, like I've said, Sony is a very petty company. And it is... And like Microsoft, Sony's not got the financial clout that Microsoft have. But Sony is more than just the PlayStation. Just like Microsoft. So it has a lot more money than people probably think it has. They could easily buy what is rumoured Take-Two. What can go up against Call of Duty? Grand Theft Auto.
That's true.
And
that would, to be honest with you, I generally think that would destroy a lot of people.
I can imagine.
Because if I was Microsoft, and I'd be like, we've got Call of Duty, we've got everybody on the hook for 10 years.
And Sony had...
And then all of a sudden, Sony come along...
walks up and goes, have you seen my new acquisition? Rockstar Games.
We've got...
Take-Two?
We've got Grand Theft Auto now. But it's alright, we'll give you this 10-year deal. Can you imagine that?
Don't worry, we'll give you this 10-year deal for one game that will be produced.
Yeah, for one game that will probably get released. The next one will be released...
in about 5 years' time.
In about,
Whenever.
Whenever.
It might actually be released in 11 years, in which case, well, sorry.
What a shame.
What a shame.
That would kill me. I'd be stoked.
Sony has a track record, maybe not to this scale, but a track record of literally being like the most dickish. For example, when the PlayStation price was announced, that the CEO literally walked up to the stage and announced the price because it was Atari.
It was
Atari Jaguar. The Atari Jaguar was like $500 when they won release, and they said, "Oh, Sony can't launch theirs for less than ours. It's not possible." And the Sony CEO walked up and went, "I think it was $299."
Yeah, they sold it for dirt cheap.
They sold it dirt cheap. They just and like this is the company we're talking about. Like Sony hasn't really changed. I don't think
they're a very petty company.
They can be a very petty company. So yeah, they could. I think Take-Two has been valued at not 69, but like something like $34 billion.
Yeah,
something like that. I don't think even that much. So Sony could instantly go, yeah, we're going to buy you now.
And they can't really stop them.
No, the precedent has been set.
I mean, the judge herself basically said it's better off.
Yeah.
If everything's under.
If everything's under one banner, then it's all good, isn't it?
It's better for the customer that way.
It's better for the customer if it's all under one banner.
It's not. But fine.
There's also more talk of Sony introducing their movies to the PlayStation.
They already have. They're already in.
I know, but i.e. the premium.
Yeah, no, it's already in.
They started it.
Yeah, it's in. If you go to the PlayStation Plus shop,
yeah,
you go down and on the side there's Sony Interactive Movies.
Oh, cool!
And you can just watch any.
I mean, granted, I don't think.
I mean, they don't make awesome movies. I don't think. I can't remember. I haven't looked.
Well, they do the Spider-Man movies, but no, Sony own. Is it Paramount? Columbia Pictures. Columbia Pictures, which they've got a whole host of of movies. So yeah, So I say, everyone's just waiting for the next part of this console war bullshit. I'm literally like, just can we just have good games? Is it really that hard to ask? Can you stop having this giant dick swinging contest and just
I'll only accept it if I get a good BioShock game out of it.
It's only
the rumoured BioShock 4, which is never coming out. But if it ever does,
here's the thing. Personally, I think a Shock type game should be made, but I think the whole Rapture, which is BioShock, is Rapture. Let's all be honest.
I don't know, because BioShock Infinite pretty much changed that.
I know, but there was still a connection to Rapture.
Yeah.
There was still a connection to that whole setting. So, and System Shock is all Shodan and sci-fi and all that. BioShock is still sci-fi, but it's now
steampunk.
It's steampunk sci-fi. So I think a new Shock series. Because where would you go with BioShock now? I don't think there's anywhere that they could really go with it and not feel forced. So, but going back and doing it, coming at it a fresh way, like they did with the change from System Shock 2 to BioShock, would probably be a good thing. So that game coming out and being and the thing is, that sort of thing, Sony could really really, and we're talking as if this is actually going to happen. It probably isn't. So, but Sony could be really dickish and go, yeah, you can have the next BioShock game, and not actually release a BioShock game, but release a Shock game. I'm just trying to think. System Shock, BioShock,
Culture
Shock.
No, do not.
That's a terrible.
Do not.
That's a terrible.
Culture Shock.
I'm sure there's a name that can go with the theming or whatever. But anyway, yeah, it's. I'm just tired of this whole conglomeration of.
Well, get used to it, because this is all going to happen in the next few years.
It's still going to happen. It's still going on because the industry doesn't.
And Microsoft aren't going to stop with
Well, no,
Activision
because this won't win them this won't force Sony out of the market, so they're going to try and acquire someone else because Microsoft has no creativity now. They don't know the fundamental rule of just make a good game. It's like Starfield has led to a jump in Xbox sales.
Yeah.
Like, proving what we've been saying. If you make good games, people will buy your console. And they're still like, nah, but releasing good games won't change the needle. It doesn't work that way anymore.
I mean, it does. That's exactly how it works.
I mean, that's the basic principle of the whole thing, but...
I don't understand how he has a job. How can someone who's
because
supposed
the
to
Activision
be...
Blizzard deal actually went through.
Yeah, that's true.
It actually went through.
How
If it
can
hadn't have
somebody-
gone through, he would have been gone.
How can somebody who's supposed to be in charge of an entire gaming division say that, like, making good games does not sell consoles? I just, like, to be honest with you, it does explain a lot for the last few years.
Because, again, the people at the top don't have a fucking clue about the market they're actually in charge of. Anyway, I think we've gone on about this for a little bit too long, so let's move on.
Yeah, okay, so we're actually going to be talking about games now. So, the new Far Cry multiplayer game is apparently going to be an extraction-based shooter.
Oh, for God's sake! So everyone, it's the new.
Yeah, Extraction's the new big mode.
Extraction-based shooter is the new fad.
Luckily, it's not been as bad as, like, you know, when Battle Royale first came out, where everything was Battle Royale.
Yet.
Yes, that's true.
Because you've got Marathon.
That's true.
You've got this.
I don't think Marathon's going
The
to do very
new
well.
Call of Duty Zombies looks like it's going to be an extraction shooter.
It is, but what I've seen of it, it is going to be PvE.
I know, but right. So, the thing is that it's not a horde shooter, which is what Zombies is. It's
No, right. So it's still right. Of what I've seen, because I have watched the trailers and the things that they've come to explain about it. Right. So it is kind of still a horde shooter. There's still a shit ton of zombies all over the place. Right. The thing here is that although it is an extraction sort of game, it's not PvP. There's no PvP.
I know, but right. You can have an extraction shooter and not have PvP.
Well, you tell the rest of the fucking games industry that, because I'm fucking sick of extraction PvP games. I'm sick of them. I've had enough of them. I want to die.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is like you don't have to have the PvP. It's an element in an extraction shooter that a lot of them do have, but the basic principle of go in, pick shit up, don't die, get the fuck out. You don't need a PvP. It's an added element because of the whole random encounter of a person shit.
The thing is, the PvP works in games like Tarkov because you don't have AI to deal with. At least I don't think you do.
No, I don't think so. It works in stuff like Tarkov. I think Dark and Darker does it quite well as well because you're all like dungeon diving and
but I'm not dealing with like DMZ on Call of Duty, right? It is the most frustrating fucking thing.
Oh yeah.
You're busy and you like those fucking AI guards just know where you are instantly.
Well, of course they are.
You could be like 6 miles away from them. They know you're
it's
there.
It's a Call of Duty game.
Do
you honestly think the AI has anything other than person is there, shoot when he pops out?
And so you're dealing with these fucking AI guys, and there's another team just waiting.
Yeah. Waiting for you to kill them, and then they'll kill you.
And then because you've been getting shot and all that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
you've got to replay it and you've got to do all this shit. And while you're doing that, they just pop you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, for fuck's sake. It's the most frustrating thing I've ever played. I hate fucking extraction games, man. It's so fucking annoying. I used to like DMZ when it first came in, but like the more I've played it, the more stupid the fucking game's gone.
Yeah.
And the more fucking horrible
It's
people
like
are.
it's basically Dark Souls invasions where
If you
every
play-
single person that invades is a fucking coward.
Is a runner.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's if you play DMZ, you're a scumbag. It's no. There's no sugarcoating it.
Yeah.
You're a fucking scumbag.
At least with stuff like Dark and Darker, it's you can't. There's no way to like snipe. You will run into people because it's just that claustrophobic and crap. It's very rare that people can actually like plan an ambush.
Yeah.
The difference between that and probably what ZMZ is because you've got stuff like sniper scopes, long range rifles, and all that sort of stuff. Somebody can just sit. Someone can find an AI patrol, sit at the end of the street, cover their rear, and just wait for someone to stumble upon it. Now, I would argue that that's the most laziest asinine gameplay loop of all time. But, you know...
Yeah, but they don't give a shit about that because
No.
they kill the people who have done all the fucking work and then just nick their shit.
Yes.
It's just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, back to Far Cry. Yes, Ubisoft are jumping on the bandwagon again, as they always do.
Often too late.
Apparently, this is Far Cry 7. This is actually going to be... It's not going to be like a side-off game.
Oh my...
This is actually going to be a sequel.
I mean, on the bright side, at least it's not a open world collectathon bullshit that the last few.
I mean, it's
Far
nice.
Cries have been.
It's nice. It's a nice change of pace, I suppose. But at the same time, like, that's not Far Cry.
Makes no sense.
It's not really Far Cry.
No, it makes no sense.
Honestly, why don't you just do the same thing but just call it something else? It's like with Assassin's Creed, the games that are not Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Why have you put Assassin's Creed on there? Just call it something else. You could have literally just called it Valhalla. Or something. Viking Valhalla. There you go. You could have called it that. I mean, granted, everybody would have just said, well, this just feels like Odyssey.
Yeah.
But then again, Odyssey wasn't an Assassin's Creed game either.
No.
That was just a fucking I'm a Spartan. Which, don't get me wrong, is kind of cool, but still.
It's claiming it's an Assassin's
Like,
Creed.
oh yeah, you can have mini battles on Odyssey. Yeah, since when did an assassin go into battle?
I mean,
and not have a objective? Like,
Yeah,
by the way, your job is to kill the commander over there.
beginning of Vinland Saga, 4th in. That is basically what they would do. That they would be basically, look, there's the commander, kill him.
Your job is to get behind them and kill him.
Kill him. That's it. No one else. You don't need to kill anyone else unless they're stopping you from killing him. That's pretty much what they would do.
So, like, again, I just feel like this is another one of those where it's going to be, yeah, this is a new game and we're just slapping Far Cry onto it.
This is the popular bandwagon. Let's jump on it.
And we're going to slap Far Cry onto it because people will buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though nobody bought Far Cry 6. So instead of actually thinking of a way to make Far Cry into the game that people wanted, they've just done this.
So what they probably will end up doing is pissing off the remaining Far Cry fans that they have.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like Mirage is getting a little bit of like criticism and all that, and I'm like, well, yeah, because the entirety of the old school Assassin's Creed fan base has moved on to Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. And now they come. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I like Mirage. It's not bad. It's not bad. No, it's good.
Yeah,
it's good. I enjoy it. I can actually do stealth.
It's an actual Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, I can actually do stealth.
You can actually be an assassin.
Yeah, which is nice.
An actual assassin.
I did an entire mission where I killed nobody but the target. I was like, this is what I want.
This is what Assassin's Creed's supposed to be. It's only took you only took you a whole game console generation to realise
it, but it's fine. And I feel like this is just going to be the same thing over again.
Yeah, it
and we're going to get like 4 games of Far Cry of being like, yes, this is Far Cry extraction shooter. Haha! No, this is not Far Cry.
It's either going to be like that, or it's going to end up like their battle royale they try to do.
Oh, the jumpy thing.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to be battle royale. I think this is.
No. I mean, it's going
to last about 5 seconds.
It's going to come out, release like a damp squid,
and then get pulled.
Despite the fact that there was actually some decent, good ideas in that game, and then they're going to pull it because it's not an instant success. See, this is the thing. It's going to be a live service because it's an extraction suit shooter. The whole basic principle of that is it's always online. So we know, one, because it's Ubisoft, the servers are not going to work properly.
Yeah, that's true.
And two, they're probably going to pull it in about 4 months after launch because it's Ubisoft and the game isn't an instant success.
And nobody's using the shop.
And no one's using the shop. I mean, why would we want to use the Ubistore shop? All it does is sell experience boosters and fuck all else.
God, I hate you.
It'll probably come with a battle pass as well.
Oh yeah,
And all the and probably every way known to man to boost or skip the grind to actually get a decent character.
yeah,
Also, it'll have no story.
yeah.
You know, like the whole thing they build their fucking game around on their advertising.
yeah.
Like the main antagonist ever since after 3, because Vaz, even though he was
He's not the
he
main
was
villain.
I know, but he was slightly promoted, but everyone liked him because of the whole he's not your average villain sort of thing. And and then they went to, was it Ping? Before?
Is it not Ming?
Ming?
His name is Ming.
Ming? Anyway, for 4.
I liked him. I thought
he
was
was
quite
great.
good. The arrogance coming off him was just fantastic.
I do love villains that have a bit of hubris in them. Like
Also,
the
that was the first one that was just like, if you actually did what what he said.
Yeah.
If
you just stayed at the
the table until he came back, you got like a special ending. To the game
because he actually because you were there to basically
scatter the ashes
of your mother, and he actually takes you to where
to scatter the ashes of your mother,
and then takes you back and yep, go on.
Which you watch it and then you play the game and you're just like, you know what? Although Ming is a
dictator
and a horrible person, but he's not half as bad as the other two. Like the other two are like she wants to use child soldiers, and he wants to blow people up.
And we all know if we get rid of Ming, this is going to lead to civil war.
Yeah, this is not.
And that's a lot of death.
Yeah, but anyway.
So Ubisoft's jumping on the bandwagon again.
Yeah.
The question is it going to be they miss the bandwagon, fall flat on face, and look like a complete fucking tool?
You know what's going to happen?
Like the NFTs.
Yeah, speaking of stories, it's going to be the whole well, we've got the story, it's just not in the game. You got to go to this website.
Yeah, 5 years after after Bungie made it unpopular. Ubisoft will come out with it. You know there's going to be a Sam Fisher reference.
Oh yeah,
in that game.
Yeah. Oh yes,
because that's all the Splinter Cell fans ever get now is Sam Fisher in other games. I don't know why. I don't know why they deserve this fate. I don't know. No one should deserve this fate. It's a terrible thing. Why? What have Splinter Cell fans done to deserve this? Because I can't think of anything. Apart from basically go, can we have another Splinter Cell game, guys?
It's not the fact that Sam Fisher's and everything else. It's just it's the way they promote it. They keep promoting it like, oh, by the way, there might be a Splinter Cell game.
There might be a Splinter Cell thing.
And then everyone gets like, okay.
You like Sam Fisher, don't you?
You like Sam Fisher?
You like him? You like him?
He might be coming back. Well, he is coming back, but he's in this mobile game. He's a new character.
I remember that.
I still remember that announcement for the thing, and everybody thought it was Splinter Cell. And then they go, here's this new mobile game.
This mobile gacha game. You could literally hear the heart breaking of every single Splinter Cell fan.
You could pause the video and you could see the very moment everyone died.
Yeah. Oh, no one deserves that fate. It's a terrible. It's worse than Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's worse.
Well, the thing is, Beyond Good and Evil 2. At least it wasn't teased. You know, they're not teasing the fans about it.
True. They've just gone quiet on it.
Yeah, they're just going quiet and although they're saying, about it. Oh, it's still in development.
They don't actually.
They don't really say anything about it. Sam Fisher just gets paraded around like a fucking pinata.
Oh.
Just be like, go on over franchises by Ubisoft, give it a hit.
My concern now is like the fan base are that like desperate for one. Any game announced will be hyped up so much that it'll never live up to the hype.
Oh yeah,
that's my concern.
It's
now.
buggered.
It is literally like Beyond Good and Evil 2 now is just never going to live up to
either that, or it's going to be like, we're making a Splinter Cell game and no one's going to believe them.
No.
Everyone's just going to go, nah, you're lying.
Nah, you're lying. It's like Beyond Good and Evil 2 and for Valve, Half-Life 3. Like, they can never make those games now because they're never going to live up to the hype that is being built on them. Like, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is never now going to live up to the Ubisoft's take on Star Wars that was presented to them so many years ago now.
Bless.
Oh well.
Anyway, moving on. So, did you hear about Kong?
Yes.
Did you hear about the Kong game?
Yes.
The game that has now brought philosophers and educationals alike to come together to discuss which is the worst game, Gollum or King Kong.
Or King Kong. Like, not even, like, King Kong and Gollum are that bad. It has literally pushed Redfall out of the contention of the worst game of the year. That is one hell of a fucking feat. Jesus. Holy moly.
We went shopping the other day and we saw Redfall. The very fact that they're still charging like, what was it, 60?
£60.
60 quid for Redfall is a fucking crime.
And I know there are probably Xbots that are typing away as soon as someone's criticising Redfall.
You're assuming people watch this video.
Well, no one watches it. That's what I'm saying. Watches it. It's anyone that sees criticism of Redfall and going, no, it's actually good now. It's like, no, it's not. The very basic premise of the game as a looter shooter is crap. Like, the very basic principle. You can't fix the fucking design choice to make the cutscenes the way that as not even cutscenes. They're just pictures. You can't change that. You can't change the fact that the loot is just not even meh. It's just there. It's just like, oh, this has a number better.
Yeah.
You can't like change the fact that the characters' abilities are really lackluster to what they really should be. And also, the vampires are just so fucking dumb. Holy fucking shit. I've seen game jams which have made better AI.
Hey,
and they don't usually have the time to have like more than rudimentary AI.
Aye. But anyway, back to Kong.
Yeah.
We're digressing. The development process of the game was started in June of last year.
So they only had a year.
They only had a year.
No wonder Kong is this bad.
A year to build the game from scratch.
Make all their own assets. Make the levels from scratch. Make the game from scratch. All the animations, all the collisions, the mechanics, the physics, the are you? Who in their right mind thinks that a game will be made like in a year?
Yeah, and not only that. So according to a former Iguanabee employee, he basically said it was very common for teams to be provided with limited information on the project. So there was workers who were just dumped onto Skull Island Rise of Kong and had absolutely no idea what they were making. Basically, they were just being told, by the way, do this.
See, I can always say, a bad game is never made by the people who actually do the ones and zeros. By the ground floor staff. The ground floor staff never make a bad game. It is always the decisions made by management that ends up making a game that they're working on shit. And you can every single game you can look at that has been absolutely terrible. The Gone game, that's definitely management.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Redfall,
That was management.
that was management because the staff were basically saying, yeah, we don't want to do this game. 2, this is not our ballpark. Looter shooters is not what we do. We do stealth, multi-choice,
Action,
single player,
story-driven
games. Overwatch 2. Management decided we're gonna kill Overwatch 1 by not having anyone work on it at all. We're gonna make Overwatch 2. We're gonna have a PvE, and then management went, Diablo Immortal made a whole lot of money, so we want to do that for Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
So that PvE stuff, get rid of it. It's not gonna make us the money that Diablo Immortal makes us. So remember when game companies used to take a really successful multi-million, like a game that would make them loads and loads of money, and take that money and put it into another project that's not as big.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Remember they used to do that?
I remember those days.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember when they used to do that? And then you would get like games that you weren't expecting that would come out of the blue, but were absolutely amazing.
Well, that was the thing back then.
Dead Space.
The thing is, back then, games companies weren't locked into making one type of game unless that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like EA, we were talking about EA before. Like, their portfolio way back when, the range of the games that they released was quite staggering of the different types. RPG, real-time strategy, sports games, fantasy, action,
sci-fi, shooters,
horror. You know, they have a quite decent range of gaming styles that they had, but now they're literally just Ultimate Team.
They're just Ultimate Team, and
because I'm not even going to say sports games now because they
just
their sports games are terrible.
Yeah, they are.
They are now just the Ultimate Team stuff and Star Wars.
At the moment, yeah, because Battlefield's
terrible.
2042 is so bad that
unless
a block build game.
Unless we get Titanfall 3, I don't believe we're gonna get anything other than Star Wars and Ultimate Team stuff, because I don't care what anybody says, Dragon Age Dreadwolf is not going to be that good. It's taken too long now. They've had too many problems.
Let's be honest, BioWare's getting eaten.
Probably.
BioWare's getting eaten. Respawn's, by a miracle of Apex, avoided being eaten. It bought them enough time for Jedi Fallen Order to come out.
Yeah.
And that basically saved their lives.
Pretty much.
Because they actually made a decent Star Wars game.
And now Apex makes them gangbusters.
Yeah, Apex makes them gangbusters.
And if I wasn't too busy playing other games, I probably would play Apex because I like Titanfall.
That's the thing. It's a battle royale with Titanfall
mechanics,
movement mechanics.
Yeah.
Which is like, yes, please, thank you very much. That's
great.
I mean, will I be absolutely massacred by everyone else? Yes, because people used to massacre me on Titanfall because, dear God, I would be shot from angles I just did not know existed.
Yeah.
It's like, how the fuck did you get up there? You just bounce off here, bounce off here, bounce off here, bounce off here, and do a twirl here, and then bounce off here, and then if you're this character, you can rip cord to there.
Yeah. Moving back to Kong, because we're digressing again. The same source basically said that the developers and the publishers had a love-hate relationship, as in the studio, which relied on the funding, would only get funding for the games that the publisher wanted it to make. So instead of the developers going to them being like, this is the game that we're making,
this is the idea of the game, this is the proof of concept, we think we would need this much money to get it done. This much money in this much time.
Basically, the publisher here was going to them and saying, you're making King Kong game.
You're making the King Kong game.
Yeah.
What type of King Kong game? I don't know. Just make a King Kong game.
The other. This is well. To be fair, I'm not surprised. The developers were crunched from February onwards to get the game into the best state it could be shipped in.
In other words, in
source,
an actual playable state.
One of the sources saying I was on automatic pilot by the end of February because all hope was lost.
Yeah, this is the thing when you do treat your staff as shit as this. They basically switch off. They basically just decide to turn up, do the job they're doing, and then go home. And it's like, yeah, I don't care if it's a poor product now because they clearly don't care about us. So how the hell are we supposed to make a good product when we're treated like shit?
Game Mill, sorry, they're the publishers.
Yeah.
So their portfolio of published games, their biggest release or their most popular game is the Nickelodeon All Star Brawls.
That explains a lot. That explains a lot.
That was made by two companies. That was Ludosity and Fairplay Labs. At the time, it looked like they had a combined headcount of 30 employees total. The sequel, which was recently delayed, is in development by the same two studios. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that all this stuff has happened around Kong, because it's just, you can just tell.
To quote thingy from Nintendo, a rush game is always bad.
The thing is, I don't even think this was rushed. They just went, okay.
You've got to make a game.
You've got to go a Kong game in a year.
In a year. Do you know what games used to be made in a year or less? Movie tie-ins. Do you know how many movie tie-ins are good?
Well, I mean,
there's Spider-Man 2. There's The Lord of the Rings, with Two Towers, and Return of the King.
Those two games are mint.
And then you start struggling. And this is not a new thing. This goes all the way back to the
movie tie-ins have always been
to the Amiga games. I remember us having the Blues Brothers on the Amiga.
Yes.
It's not a good game. No. It has catchy music because it has the Blues Brothers music in, but like,
other than that,
slow news week.
Yeah, slow news week.
Because really, the big news was last week with the takeover.
With the finally going through.
Finalisation of the takeover.
But we've chatted.
We have chatted a bit. I feel sorry for, like... Because the thing is, like, you get... Especially with a game like Kong, the people who were actually making the game, they probably could tell it was going to be bad halfway through. And it's like, there's no way in hell we can actually make this into a decent game. In the time they want us. And they're not going to give us more time.
But again, I feel like this is another game that, like who asked for this?
No one.
Who's asked for a King Kong game?
Right, the thing is, like, if you make a decent King Kong game, will probably sell. Just like a decent Godzilla game will probably sell. Because there's the King Kong fan base and there's the Godzilla fan base, and all they want is a decent giant monster does giant monster stuff. Maybe with the Kong game being a little bit more sentimental and like, yeah, he's actually a good guy. While the Godzilla is literally like, look, it's a giant atomic breath breathing
dragon
lizard thing. I don't need to explain more. Just make a game involving that and what it does. I mean, granted, that's what probably this publisher did. But you understand,
I know what you mean.
Like, just make a good game, and if they make a good game of it, it'll sell. So, like, while no one's screaming out for a Kong game, if someone made an actual decent Kong game, it probably would do well.
But the problem with a decent Kong game is, like, what would you actually do? These are the things that like I feel like wasn't actually asked.
That is very true.
Like, okay, so we've got a Godzilla. We've got the Godzilla IP. Let's make a game for Godzilla. Okay, what are we gonna do in it?
Easy kaiju fights.
Yeah.
Giant ass kaiju fights.
But the thing is, with the way the games industry is right now, you need to keep that going. You need to keep that idea, and you've got to find a way to make it go. And oh well, this is like an hour to 2 hour game, right?
Yeah. How do you
You've got to stretch that.
Yeah. How do you put a battle pass in that?
Exactly.
You don't.
And it's that type of stuff that's going on.
Oh well. Yeah.
This is why all the big kaiju fighting games that you see, right? They're all like PvP.
Yeah.
Because it's the best way to do it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's a giant.
But you couldn't have like a Godzilla game where you're just Godzilla and you're doing levels or things like that.
I don't know. If you put like something like the mecha game mechanics in with Godzilla,
Yeah, maybe.
and like level design and all that, and use Godzilla's size as like. I'm not saying it's easy. It's probably very hard. And the easiest option would be just it's a kaiju fighter.
Yeah.
Which, a decent kaiju fighter is a good game.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, like,
I mean,
the idea...
Giant robots and giant monsters punching each other in the face. What is there not to like?
But the problem is that, like, look, Godzilla's movies are prime for this. Like, you don't need a big overarching story.
No, you need Godzilla and something for Godzilla to fight.
Exactly, which is why you don't get Godzilla and King Kong games.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to drive the player to actually do the things that they want you to do in the game.
Yeah.
Other than, oh, by the way, look at this atomic breath. But you can only do atomic breath so many times before you get bored of it.
Oh, it's on a cooldown.
Or it's on a cooldown. So...
yeah, I understand your point. And that,
it's just one of the... It's like Gollum. It's the exact same thing of Gollum. Why did you make a game about Gollum? Of all the characters you could have chosen, you chose Gollum. What is wrong with you? But it's a puzzle game. I don't care. Nobody gives a shit about Gollum.
Not in the context of, like...
I want to be Gollum in a game.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
That's what I'm saying. Not in the context of...
Nobody wants to be Gollum. That's just...
No, because Gollum is... Let's all be honest. Gollum and Smeagol are not nice people.
Like...
or person.
Sometimes I just look at the world and I just go, why?
Greed.
Why?
Greed. That's basically it. The publisher saw, we'll have the Kong license, it'll make money.
Even though it won't, because
King Kong is a niche. King Kong games are notoriously bad.
Oh no, it's not even that. It's just King Kong's a niche market, just like Godzilla.
Yeah, and they don't do well.
Yeah, like you're not gonna get. Like, Joe Bloggs, who only buys Call of Duty, isn't going to stop playing Call of Duty because you released a Godzilla game.
That is very true.
It's that sort of thing. You got to do something like Elden Ring and catch people's attention.
Yeah.
And you can't do that by just going, here's Godzilla.
And have a game that was only developed in 1 year.
Yeah, and you're definitely not going to do that with a game that's only for
I feel
where you've crunched your employees.
Yeah, you crunched your employees. I do feel sorry for the developers because, like I said, clearly they knew within probably very short. Or you have to start they probably knew that.
I wouldn't be surprised if they actually thought what they were making was a mobile game.
Probably. They probably got this brief and went, "This has to be for mobile. This clearly has to be for mobile. This can't be an actual console release on current gens. Can't be."
Right. I think we'll end it there.
Yeah.
We had a good chat. Not a lot of news.
No.
But who knows? Maybe next week.
Maybe.
I think there is an Xbox third-party thing.
Well, so there might be something for release.
So there might be some releases.
Some.
I'm sure they'll go big on.
I think we are now approaching them. We are now approaching the month that is going to try and kill our wallets.
Yes. To be fair, I'm not going to be too bad because I've got pretty much all the games that I actually want. I don't think there's anything out in November. But we'll get to that next week.
Yeah, probably. But anyway.
Next week, I think next week's the last week in November. October, sorry.
Yeah, I think last day in October is the Tuesday. So this.
Oh yeah, we'll do it next. We'll go through the releases.
Till then,
yay!
everyone.
Have fun. I do hope you've enjoyed this chat, and you'll see you in the next one. Bye now.
Toodles.